Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much. The subject what has been given to us is we can discuss hours together, days together, weeks together, and some institutes will talk about it years together on the leadership. Now I request, I start from Professor Rameshan, that he can make his viewpoints.
Good morning to all of you. It's my conviction that we cannot prepare leaders. Leaders will have to emerge. We can only give inputs to be a leader or a good leader. Because many of the expectations from leaders would be coming out of innate qualities and characteristics. For instance, leaders are supposed to visualize the future. Leaders are supposed to inspire the followers. Leaders are supposed to prepare the path for followers to move with a specific intent. And leaders are supposed to lead the community, the group, the followers to progress. But how to visualize the future, we may be able to give some aids. For instance, we can teach specific planning tools. We can teach the concept of vision. But actually, like taking a horse to water, but the horse has to drink water itself, the leader has to then show the leadership qualities. In general, we can say that the leaders come out of partly born skills, partly out of the classroom learning. Classroom learning doesn't mean that in a course developing leadership, somebody has been taught particular skills. It is from various formal occasions that we learn. And third is the life experience. For instance, in the case of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it might have been the life experience that made him a significant leader. Similar thing would have been partly true about Indira Gandhi or Chandragupta Maurya, although they got some kind of lessons from the people around, including parents, grandparents, and so on. And then comes certain things like skills, energy, patience, integrity, and the most important thing, resilience. If we look at some of our great leaders, recent leaders like, say for instance, political leaders, Indira Gandhi or Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we will find how much of resilience is required. For instance, over a period of time, they faced sustained assaults from their political rivals and adversities, but still they had the resilience to come out very successful. Of course, what I want to say, I will contribute later.
Sure.
I conclude.
Yeah. Now I request the corporate view from Ashok on the same subject, and then Yusuf.
Thank you, Ulas, and good morning to all. The aspect of effectively saying that there is no perfect educational preparation to make a leader. You know, people who have done MBAs, people who have done their graduation, people who are school dropouts, people who are college dropouts have gone on to become leaders out there. And I think that's effectively a very important criteria to look at. It's not fate to be a leader. You know, there are two views of history that people take. One is in saying that there are extraordinary times in which normal people live. And by virtue of being at the right place at the right time, they become leaders. The second view is that there are ordinary times in which extraordinary people live, and they make the situations to leadership. And I think I tend to believe in the latter. You know, the latter gives you control of your actions and your beliefs and drives it on from there. Leadership is not completely science, nor is it completely art. It's a bit of both. You know, there are no perfect answers to leadership. It's a lot of hypothesis testing that needs to happen to figure what works and what doesn't work in the real world and drive it up from there. There's no perfect time to becoming a leader. You know, for some people, it's thrust upon them, not necessarily successful thereafter. For some people, it's effectively something that they grab at a situation, and for some people it's just situational leadership that comes into play. In educational institutions, at times intelligence quotient is overrated, but I think the aspect that the cognitive skill is not as important as the non-cognitive skill. which is to say your personal and moral attitudes and aptitudes are very important to the leadership role that one can effectively play is very clear as one goes forward. And the ability to analyze versus synthesize. You know, in education, we're really taught to analyze and break a problem down to its nuances. But there's no perfect information in the real world. You know, it's about how do we pull the available information that is out there and make the decision and effectively work the synthesis that makes a leader out there. So these are the leadership myths that I just wanted to break, and I think primarily from a macroeconomic perspective, there are a lot of narratives coming together which are about Clean India, First Develop India, Make in India, Skill India, and all of that. And I think leadership plays a key role to drive the success of those horizontal narratives that are coming. And I think we need to bet and build on leadership capabilities across the political spectrum, the bureaucratic, the industry, and the social framework to effectively achieve the success in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok. We heard Professor Rameshan's view, and now we have seen academician plus a corporate world view, and I request Marco to give us Italian view.
Okay, thank you very much. Mainly, a leader perform, let's say, two types of tasks. He or she has to lead teams, so leading people. On one other side, they have also to take decisions. Wise decision, maybe not perfect decision because we don't have all the information. Today we say that good leaders are able to take good enough decision. That is, good enough is not perfect, but is better than not deciding. 20 years ago, the leader was also the person that has the most elevated and best skills. I'm speaking about technical skills, for example. So a leader was also a leader from a knowledge point of view. Nowadays, what's happening? It's happened that a lot of leaders had to deal and has to lead the people that have more knowledge than the leader, if we speak about technical competencies, for example. And so while in the past, a good leader was really also a driver, for example, so a person that was quite tough, today, maybe this paradigm is no longer, let's say, viable. Why? Because nowadays, good leaders, we notice that are also able to listen. And why to listen? Because you have to listen people that have more knowledgeable than you. Maybe they don't have leadership skills, but they have knowledge. So the team composition, your employees are going to change. In some countries, they already changed a lot. In other countries, a little bit less. But this is a very strong driver. And this is related so to the workforce and to the teams. Let's speak about decision making. Now we have to make decision for a lot of people, more compared to the past. And another driver is, in the past, the performance dimension were cost and revenues. Now we have environmental impact, we have an impact on the society, we have a safety. So the number of variables that a leader has to take into consideration in order to take the best or the good enough decision increase a lot. That is, nowadays we need for leaders a new skill set. New, it means it's not new, it's already known, but that the leaders should, let's say, increase in their knowledge, is the so-called system thinking or system view or global view. It's exactly the same. That is, being able to take a decision that, however, is evaluated by completely different perspective. So now we are working in a multiply and very complex, in a multiply variables and very complex world. So new leaders have to develop this kind of skill set, being able to manage different and very complex trade-off. Our business school, MBA courses in general, able to provide this kind of skills. Because the problem is, one thing is teaching finance, one thing is teaching marketing, another thing is teaching taking and managing trade-off between different, let's say, domain knowledge. And the way you teach this kind of thing is completely different compared to teaching functional knowledge. So this is, for example, what we saw as the new, if you want, challenges for the future leaders.
Thank you, Marco. My question, I'll start from Rameshan. What's the kind of skills you expect that boy or girl to come out of the business school, either to be a job creator or to be a job seeker? Because I'm seeing a person who comes out of a business school, either he will be a job seeker or he'll be a job creator. What he has learned in the school will be ABC, but there is something called an X factor, which is a must to convince a person like Ashok to take him on board. And what is that you think, from your perspective, that skill you need beyond the syllabus and for a job seeker and for a job creator who is an entrepreneur? Please.
My feeling is that everybody is a job seeker until something comes from inside to do something new. So what makes a leader? There are certain skills that can be given in a management school, but almost 20-25 years the people have gone through other systems, so it may not be that easy to convert somebody who is not having any innate leadership qualities to be a leader. But at the same time, the first important thing is what we teach in strategy, envisioning. A leader is expected to have an ability to view the larger picture, a longer picture. So can we help a person to be a better visionary? This is where we inculcate some qualities of visioning, developing a mission, then fixing the goals, objectives and so on through some of the strategy management courses, particularly emphasizing on strategic planning, corporate planning, etc. In the leadership organizational behavior courses, we try to highlight the different attributes, different characteristics of different types of leader, for instance, a democratic leader, an autocratic leader, authoritarian leader, etc., thereby giving the student an opportunity to see what differentiates a good leader from a bad leader or not so effective leader. In the same way, there are courses which are trying to give them insights about the leadership in particular, but the most important thing is that a marketing person will be part of a team. How he manages his team would be one of the starting points to be a leader. If he can manage the team well, he will look at the next step, what more I can do. And then he also needs to have ambition. Ambition can be kindled or accelerated a little bit, but then ambition has to come from within. If the person has an ambition and if he has some of the basic skills, he will start looking at higher and higher.
Thank you, sir.